All dicks out for her.
That's an old ass fucking meme. Like an old ass one.
Yeah,
It is
okay.
old meme.
I don't care. I'm still
Simpler
laughing about it.
Yeah.
I think that's where the world turned to shit. Right there.
Right there, right in that
Absolutely.
moment. It wasn't
In that
2012.
moment.
It was right there.
Those moths the other day, and I was just like, man, that was fun. That was a good.
There was some memes I could not
Before
get
we were all
into.
stressed
Like the
out.
moth memes were like, eh. But
I'm all for
Hey,
it.
man, different strokes.
I love a big titty moth girl. That's just me.
fuck.
I can't help it. It's just right up my alley. I'll take a moth over a butterfly
Hey,
any
man.
day.
Actually, no, I would rather take
Oh,
a
for
butterfly because the reason why is butterflies eat dead things.
Do moths not eat dead things?
I don't know what moths eat, but I know butterflies I learned a while ago, or a little bit ago, that moths, or not, fuck, that butterflies eat dead things.
Look, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I think I identify as a butterfly now.
Hey,
You
man.
good, Kyle?
My fucking shit.
Love it, dude.
Day.
I think me and Chris from Motionless in White are both butterflies because if it's got a pulse, it's
fall
not my
again.
type.
Jesus Christ.
This is gonna fall again. I'm gonna be super disappointed.
Yo, we haven't even done our intro. Welcome to the New Music Podcast. We're your two regular jackoffs from upstate New York. My name is Patrick.
Yeah, I'm Kyle. It's gonna fall again. Fuck. I hate my life.
This is going to probably be the best introduction we've ever done.
I hope so. Moths
It's already
and
off to a great start.
butterflies. Yeah.
I don't even care.
Fuck. Continue with it while I fix this.
I believe in your phone. You can do this.
I don't believe in it because it's gonna fall again.
Kyle, I've got 3 phone stands in this room alone that I can give you.
I literally just bought this and it broke. Ain't that nice? Ain't that fucking great?
Oh, what a feeling.
They don't make phone stands like they used to, man.
They don't make anything like they used to, man.
No, not at all. All right, come on, Dad, do it for me. Oh wait, you're dead.
Oh my God, Kyle. That was so good.
That better make it in.
That's what she said.
That better make it in. All right, I think we're good.
There we go.
Oh, hey, he helped.
Hey, that works.
About fucking time.
See, sometimes you just got to yell at your dad.
All right.
But in my experiences, that causes
It's
more
gonna fall
problems than
again.
it helps.
You shouldn't have said anything.
Fuck!
This is fucking...
All right, Dad. No.
Have you tried asking for help from your naked lady skull?
I'm about to in a second.
Put your hand over it and just be like,
Just hold it and like just like spin and like you're you know.
That's what's up. No sudden movements now.
There we go.
But this thing broke off of it, so there's nothing holding it now. So
Except
Now
for
just be
your
like
emotional
super still
support.
the rest of the time.
I'm gonna stay away from the desk.
There you go.
All right. If it falls, I'm gonna be really pissed.
If it falls, I just hope you're there to catch it. So yeah, welcome to the New Music Podcast. How the hell you doing, man?
Yeah, we're back.
Good deal.
We're joined
I'm
by
good.
Matthew
Go
of Meryl Creep. Did I get that right?
Yes. Yeah,
Dude.
yeah, that's it. How's it going, man?
Doing good, dude. Before we do anything, I gotta mention, I fucking love your band name, and I haven't even like really checked out your band. Like, I love your band name. It reminds me of drag queens.
Thank you, man. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Yeah, my I've always really liked the bands that kind of had, you know, these really like unique names, I guess. And you look at a lot of them, and I don't remember which band it was, but a lot of bands were talking about like, oh, we just kind of threw two words together that didn't really like mean anything or do what, you know. Um, and then just so I was just kind of playing with that whole kind of, you know, just absurd names, and that's just kind of the one that stuck. So I think before it was going to be like Thought Rocket or something stupid like
Thought
that.
Rocket,
Yeah.
like THOT.
Yeah, of course.
No,
Yeah.
it'd have to be some like serious like prog type shit in order for it to be Thought Rocket.
Right.
But I wonder, would you, because I asked this into one of the Facebook groups I'm in, would you rather call it Thought Sauce or would you rather call it Baby Gravy?
Ooh,
I think that's a good
I don't know, man. Thought sauce just has kind of a certain like, it just kind of rolls off the tongue, you know. I don't
And
know.
so does Baby Gravy. I love them both.
Yeah, maybe just use them like interchangeably. Like,
So like Baby Gravy, definitely dudes. Thought Sauce, I could see that being, you know, your ladies stuff.
yeah, either way.
Yeah.
Why am
Yeah.
I being PC about this? Come.
So, but yeah, man, thank y'all for having me. It's really cool to be here, man. This is the
Absolutely.
first thing like this I've ever done. So
Yeah, dude, I'm fucking excited to have you here. So tell me what kind of sound are you guys going for? Because like I said, I haven't checked you guys out or anything. I don't even really know anything about you guys yet.
so we were kind of going really just kind of whatever, and I say that within the kind of like indie confines, I guess. But I do most of the writing thus far, and I really am. I've always been a big fan of like that kind of '90s shoegaze kind of sound, but then also like a lot of the '80s like synthwave, you know, kind of Stranger Things sounding kind of stuff, and you know had all these kind of different influences. And I think a lot of times when you're starting a band or you know decide you want to do something like that and to kind of like, well, what do we want to sound like, or you know, and you have to kind of like pick, you know, like do we want to do stuff like this, or specifically like especially like when we were doing like metalcore and like deathcore like back in the day with my older bands, you know, we'd really have to pick like, okay, well, do we want to, you know, sound like these bands, or do we want to sound like these bands, or what kind of like sub genre you know do we want to like be a part of? And you know that was kind of the thing where I really kind of started doing all this really by myself, and then a couple other people kind of came in down the road, but that was kind of the thing where I kind of went, you know, like fuck it, like whatever kind of comes out, you know. And that's kind of the cool thing about about Meryl Creep is that it's there's not as many limitations as far as like that's to this or that's to that, you know. It's all just kind of like us, you know.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, what I like about your band name is that, like, personally, because I'm a pretty big fan of Marilyn Manson, and I have my wife to thank for that. So
Sure.
my mind goes straight to like, you know, Twiggy Ramirez or like John
Right.
Wayne Gacy and stuff like that. So like, was that kind of the thought process when you guys were deciding on the name, or was that just something funny that you guys were doing or joking with?
Really, I kind of thought it was funny. Well, like I said, we were throwing around a lot of just kind of nonsensical names, and for whatever reason, we kind of stuck on, like you said, like the celebrity names, but like changing it into something weird, or like character names from. I think, and we were tossing around like some different like office characters, or we had like Michael Snot at one point, and that didn't, you know, didn't really think. Pam Sneasley, I don't know, like.
I have one that I've been holding
But
on
yeah,
to.
it was just.
I have one that I've been holding on to, and it's
Uh-oh.
Macaulay Cuckold. And I don't know when I'm going to do anything with that name, but I've been holding on to that one for a while. What are you gonna do
start
when
that band and we'll play a show together.
I'll just do some like DIY punk stuff, some noise or
Yeah, there you
noisecore or
go.
something like that. Like it doesn't gotta sound good. That's like the whole point, is like it's supposed to be bad on purpose.
Yeah,
But what are you gonna do when Meryl Streep hears your band?
Be really stoked. I'll be super stoked when she hears Meryl Creep, and I'll hope she likes it. Although I don't know much about Meryl Streep's personal life, but I can't imagine that she's just like the biggest fan of stuff like this. But maybe she will be. Maybe I'll be surprised. I don't know.
Maybe.
So, yeah.
Like, are you a fan of I Wrestled a Bear Once?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, just knowing that Kevin Bacon knew about the song Tastes Like Kevin Bacon is just amazing to me.
That's the coolest shit. Yeah.
Like, that is such a feat for any band, just to have someone like Kevin Bacon know who you are.
Right.
That would fucking make me so excited.
Right. Yeah. That'd be fucking cool, man.
So, tell me how exactly you got started with music, because usually I ask bands that or any artists on the show, what is your origin story? How would you say, you got started in music?
So I started playing in my parents' church when I was like a teenager, and then kind of did a lot with like from there kind of went on to doing a lot within like the kind of North Mississippi, like Tennessee, like metalcore kind of hardcore kind of scene, and then played in several bands like that for several years. And my last band, kind of halfway through about 2016, and then kind of just didn't really do anything for a couple years. And then a couple years later, I don't know, I guess I got the itch to start doing stuff again, or kind of finally had like a clear head from everything, and kind of decided like, well, I'm just going to start doing stuff on my own. I think for those couple of years, I had been really looking at band members to start something else and trying to find, different like reliable people that, when you're starting a band, like, do they have gear? Like, will they show up? Will they do this? Will they do that? And didn't really have any luck from that. And so then finally just was kind of like, fuck it, like let me just start writing music on my own, and let me just start doing like solo stuff. I did like a solo like black metal thing. I still kind of mess with that every once in a while, but obviously that's nothing nearly similar to Meryl Creep, but
Yeah.
but it's fun. I like it,
Hey, you never know. Those influences could bleed in for any number of reasons.
And that would be totally okay, with Meryl Creep. Like that's kind of the whole thing. So but yeah, then moved to Ohio, had some kids, and did the whole dad thing for a while, and really got serious about trying to do it. Quarantine happened, kind of felt like, okay, well, I have no excuse to not try to get this music out there, record, or do whatever. And it's just all been kind of falling into place. It's been really cool, getting some pretty dedicated band members, and starting to pick up a little bit of steam. So I'm really stoked on how everything is turning out. So
Fucking sick. How long have you been playing music? You said you started with your playing in the church, but how old were you at that time?
I think when I really started doing that, I was about 16. I've been playing since I was about 13, but both my parents work at a church. So that's kind of where I got influenced to do that. And then I actually did that through college, in between like shows with my like metalcore bands. I would go back and like play in church, because they'd pay me like $75 a week or something like that. So I would go in and like play for the church, and make some gas money to like go do it again.
Hell yeah. I mean, that's not even a bad gig, really, especially when you're first starting.
Yeah, absolutely. So
that's pretty awesome. Is that something that's like really a big staple in your life, is the church, or is that just something that you did when you were younger?
So that's that's kind of a whole thing. I was younger, and I was very passionate about the church. Then kind of some different things happened through our life and went decidedly the opposite way. I kind of lived my life as as like a Satanist for several years and went through that whole thing. And it's interesting. There's a lot of like that kind of modern like atheistic Satanism that I still like really, even though like I consider myself a Christian again. Weirdly, there's still a lot of those aspects that I still kind of carry on into my life. To me, like Christianity and like church and religion just in general is a really like personal thing, and it should be between you and whatever higher power you do or don't believe in, whatever the case may be. So and I think that everyone is kind of is different in that. People, that they grew up, Islamic, like that may be, where they feel kind of at home, and other people may not have grown up with anything, and that's who they feel that they are. And other people may have grown up with church, and I feel like everything just kind of works differently for everybody, if that makes sense.
No, that definitely makes sense. In fact, it's not very often that I actually hear of anybody really going back and forth between Christianity and Satanism. So it's really that's a really interesting take. And I being, Kyle can speak for himself on this one, but he's identified as an atheist for quite some time. I've identified as a Satanist for a number of years now. And so I can't help but wonder, because I know that there's a lot of stigma from the Christian, all sects of Christianity about what Satanism is and isn't. And so I'm curious if that's something you're comfortable talking about, is what that process was like going back and forth between those lifestyles, or even just, those ideologies.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever my first band was a Christian band, and I left that band, I kind of had some shit at the fan with them, and really just kind of soured my whole viewpoint towards just most of the Christians that I knew in general at that time, and really just the whole that whole worldview as a whole. And I knew a little bit about Satanism before that at the time, but at that point I really started to kind of research it and get into it, and really study LaVey and Aleister Crowley and all those guys. And really just felt that whole kind of, I hate to say DIY, that sounds so like punk rock. But I meant like, like I'm not going to wait around for God to do things for me. Like I'm going to do it for myself. Whatever. I really felt that was kind of where my life was at that time. And in a sense, like I'm really grateful that that Satanism kind of was there for me at that time, because I was going through a really dark place. I was very, very depressed, very suicidal, and then really got into that, and kind of went from a regaining of like confidence from that. Kind of lived my life that way for several years. And then, as the years went on, began to kind of reevaluate, as I think you tend to do when you get to be, in your mid to late 20s, and just kind of started to think about, okay, like, is the reason that I hate Christianity really to do with like God and Jesus itself, or is it to do with like these shitty people that I've come in contact with over the years, And when I actually examined my life, I found that most of the issues that I actually had was not with the religion itself, or not with God or Jesus itself. It was with like, my former bandmates at the time who had like pissed me off, or like hypocrites at like my parents' church, or like, and then it kind of led me to actually study the things that like the biblical, like Jesus himself actually said, in terms of, and like how he actually lived his life, and the biblical, or at least in my opinion, like the biblical view of Jesus is like, could not be more different than the Jesus that is kind of pushed on the rest of the world by the Christian church nowadays.
That is such a fact.
Like they, like seriously, like they, you know, you have this idea of like this like white, straight Republican Jesus, you know, who's like, you know, and it's like, okay, well, he's Middle Eastern for one. He was, you know, if you listen to what he says, like the philosophy behind what he says, it's really like way more socialist than anything. You know, is this guy who hung out with like prostitutes and tax collectors and, you know, like the shitty people of like their time, you know. And, you know, people would see him doing this, they would try to like rebuke him or, you know, like, hey, why are you doing that? And he would basically be like, fuck you. Like, I'm God. I'm gonna, you know, like I'm gonna hang out with these people because I love them, you know. And when I kind of figured that out, I was like, well, that's how I live my life already, you know, like that's how I would want everyone to live their life, you know. So when I actually, you know, kind of made it more about like trying to live, you know, more like Jesus than anything else, you know, there to me, what anybody else believes in, like it doesn't, you know, matter to me. Like all the kind of like rules that like the church has for people, like I don't care, you know. And I don't think that, in my opinion, I don't think God cares, you know. I think he cares if you like love people and are good to people. So that's kind of what I'm about. That doesn't really play into like my band very much because I want it to kind of be accessible for like everybody regardless of what you believe. But that's definitely where I stand with everything for sure.
No, and I think that was pretty well said in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. It's just a very interesting perspective. Not something that I get to talk to a lot of people about.
Yeah. Well, and that's, you know, I think that more people need to have those conversations with people that might believe differently than they do. Because I think that more often than not, like you'll find, you know, like if you really like understand, like even if you don't agree or don't like understand like why someone feels the way that they do, if you listen to them and like hear, you know, arrived at what they arrived at, you know, even if you don't agree, you can kind of go like, oh, okay, well that makes sense. I get that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but too often people want to just kind of hear, you know, a couple like buzzwords, like, you know, people, when I was a Satanist, people would hear me say I'm a Satanist and people might immediately like, oh God, you know, you know, or, you know, if you say you're like a liberal or a socialist or like a Democrat or like whatever.
They don't even say, I mean, they usually just say libertarian and then they're like liberal.
Yeah.
What even is the difference between the two?
And they're like,
but like, okay, whatever. You get mad if you want.
Oh God.
Yeah. But you know, yeah, I would say, I mean, that ultimately that's kind of where I'm at, and that's, you know, kind of what I want out of Meryl Creep is to, regardless of where you fall, like on the political or religious or whatever spectrum, you know, hope you can find music that, you know, speaks to you and, you know, is fun. You know, I feel like a lot of music is just like way to that. Music is just supposed to be fun, you know? So yeah, you know, like I just don't take things too seriously, you know?
Yeah, for sure. What have you guys got so far for Meryl Creep? Because you guys have put out a couple of singles so far, right?
Yeah, we put out, well, one was a cover, and then we have one original. The cover, it's probably the most covered song in existence, but it's Everlong. And I just had to put that one out. When we were in the operating room or the delivery room, they had it on like the alternative like station or whatever. And when they like cleaned him up and like handed, like I heard that song come on like as it was all happening, but I wasn't really paying attention. But you know, they cleaned him up and they handed him to me for the first time, and they're like, here you go. And like as I like held my son for the first time, like that chorus comes on, you know, and I was like, this is like some shit out of a movie or something, you know. Like those like high school movie, you know what I mean? Like they like hand my son and it's like, if everything could ever feel this, and I was like, wow, this is like kind of surreal. This is weird, you know. So that song's always been really important to me. So you know, I'd done that cover before I even, created the Meryl page or anything, but I decided to put that out. And then we have another song, Speak English Doc, We Ain't Scientists, which hopefully people will get as a Walk Hard reference. But yeah, we put that one out, and we've got a couple that we're putting out now. We kind of like to do the singles route. I think that's kind of the way that the music industry is headed, to kind of stay relevant. So that's kind of what we're doing now. I think that depending on how everything goes here in the near future, as we continue to kind of solidify everything and bring more people in, I hopefully we'll be able to actually do like a full EP or album at one point. But right now, I'm really just enjoying doing the singles and really just kind of having fun with it. I feel like for a lot of bands, there's such like a game plan of like, well, we've got this checklist, and it's like we've got to get this EP out, and then we've got to get merch printed, and then we've got to like play shows and go on tour and get signed and do this and that. And it's like you never like feel like, and that's good. It's good to be driven, I think. But like I think when you do things that way, you don't ever really like have time to really enjoy doing one thing at a time. If that makes, you put your first single out, and then immediately your mind goes to like, okay, what's the next thing I got to do, and you don't have time to sit there and be like, I'm really proud of that single, or I'm proud of that EP or that show or like whatever it was, So I think, and part of it is because of where we're all at in life. We're all older with kids and everything, and like full-time jobs, and we want this to succeed, and we want this to go well and be able to play for as many people as we can. But we also kind of the understanding that in life, like it's not easy to like drop everything, so we can either have fun with what we're doing, and if it takes off, awesome, and if not, whatever, or we can kind of like, I don't know, just be bummed about everything because nothing's ever going like exactly the way we want it to, so it's kind of where we're at as a band, I guess.
Yeah, dude, I totally get that. I think the singles route is honestly the smartest way to go about it right now, given the current climate. Just because, especially with TikTok, the way that, how much TikTok has actually influenced people.
Yeah.
They like that short form content, and I didn't realize how much people like short form content until I started using TikTok.
Sure. Well, and even outside of that, I mean, I think that, that's just where the music industry is headed in general. It's that old kind of model of, where bands would like release an album every 2 to 2.5 years and then tour off of it in the meantime. I don't think that works anymore. And a lot of debates with people about this, but like, a lot of people like want to get mad at like Spotify or Apple Music or whatever it is for not paying the artist very much. And like, absolutely, like in an ideal world, they should pay people more, but my kind of whole outlook on it is, I can complain about something all day long, but it doesn't mean that it's going to change. You know?
Exactly.
Like, so like, yes, like, we should do, I always talk about the difference in like an ideal world and then in like those kind of different things in terms of how we deal with like the things in life that aren't necessarily the best, but I think if you look at like, I don't remember who was talking about it. They're talking about if you look at like the top 100 songs from like the last decade, like most of it is like rap and hip hop. And I think
100%.
the reason for that, which I enjoyed like a lot of that, but like, I think the reason for that is like their model is different, these bands like in like the kind of like heavy music scene, I guess, you announce an album, you put out a single, and then maybe, a few weeks to a month later, you put out another single, and like your hype train is just building and building and building. And then you put your album and people might be hyped on it for a little bit, but then, because there's so much saturation in terms of like, other bands putting stuff out or other artists putting stuff out, like then your hype just plummets. And then you're kind of right back to where you were, these thousands of dollars and, different things into your album, and now you're really have like nothing to show for it, Versus I think if you like put out singles or EPs a little bit more frequently, you know, you're kind of able to keep that hype train going, which is what a lot of these rappers are doing, and pop stars and things like that, you know. So I don't know, I just think the industry's changing and people have to kind of get with it, like, ultimately. So, you know,
That's not even a hot take anymore. I mean, how many people are going out and saying that very same thing?
right. Well, and people got like really mad at the CEO for Spotify because he came out and said that. You know, he's like, you can't album like every 3 years. And people like got really mad, you know, were like, well, you know, maybe if you paid us better or whatever. And I'm kind of going like, okay, do you know how many millions and millions of artists are on Spotify? You know, like, you know, that's he's not trying to be a dick. He's just saying like how it works, like how his company works that he built, you know, like, I don't know. I mean, and not
he's
to
also
stick up
he's
for
running
that
a
guy.
business on top of all that. Like, you can't think of it like from the artist perspective when he's the head of a business that is arguably one of the bigger platforms for streaming. I would say it's probably the biggest in my opinion. Maybe up there with like Apple.
Sure, absolutely.
But seriously, like, just you can't expect to write one album every 4 years and live off of that.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we get it, but you also got to get the other perspective of other people.
Right. Well, and people always get mad and they're like, you know, well, he's never written like a single song. And I'm like, and do you know how much of the music?
Yeah, your point.
Like, he's a businessman. He's not a musician. Like, next thing, please. You know, like, you know.
I love using the guy Bill Murray as the example for like how it should be, because music go down that route anyways. This guy puts out like 2 or 3 albums a year.
It might have been him talking about Bill Murray that where I really kind of thought that, you know, or got that idea in the first place. I think he was on some I don't remember which one it was, but he was on some podcast talking about it, and I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And we shout out other podcasts all the time on this show, and I'll tell you, there's 2 interviews that I really liked with the guy, with Bill Murray, which is the Lead Singer Syndrome interview and the time that Punk Rock MBA had him on.
That's it. Yeah.
Most people know it from the Punk Rock MBA, and that's for a good reason. That guy puts in his fucking work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I aspire to be as big as that dude one day.
Well, you guys are grinding, man.
Gotta grind.
We'll get there.
If this quarantine coronavirus bullshit has proven anything, that's what I want to stand the test of time, is what we've done in this time, to be able to say, this is what we've done during that time.
Now, I don't mean to cut you off, but we're hitting up.
And I think that's kind of another big thing for us, too, is that, like, and I really think that every musician or band or artist or whatever it is that you're doing within kind of like the public eye, like, if you are sitting around, like, complaining about this, you're wasting your time, I think. You know, like, if you're not taking this time to, like, you know, write new music or what you guys are doing, you know, like interviewing people or while you have the time, like, why are you doing this? You know, like, that's kind of my whole outlook on it.
Hell yeah, dude. Canada honestly is opening up in a lot of ways, and like, it's kind of made me a little bit disappointed about how things are going here in the States, because Canada's doing so well.
Sure.
Yeah. Like,
I don't even want to get into that, dude.
Yeah.
I don't even want to get into that.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I agree. Yeah.
I have also noticed that a lot of podcasts are popping up now, and what I wonder is how many podcasts are going to stick around after coronavirus is gone.
That's a good question, because we started this way before the coronavirus happened.
Let's see.
Happened.
It was like April of 2019 we started this shit. Maybe even a little bit before that.
Something like that. I can't even remember, dude.
It's been a minute, dude. But
yeah. Well, we'll see, I guess. I guess we'll all see.
Who stands the test of time?
Right.
I guarantee you a lot of them are going to, like, fade out. A lot of them are going to fade out, and then they're going to be like, oh, where'd these guys go? Oh, they're doing whatever. Right. The next thing.
Yeah.
I like Boss Pod and I like Just Noise Boys. Like, you know, obviously I'm talking about Brand of Sacrifice and Andrew Baina, their podcasts. I think their podcasts are great, but they don't have a frequent upload schedule. They just upload it
Yeah,
willy-nilly here and there, and which works for
sure.
them because they already have that built-in platform.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's a good example of,
There are other things that they're doing. Yeah.
yeah, they're doing
But
a million other things too. And that's why I'm thinking, they're probably not going to stick around. They're probably just doing this as a means to an end sort of thing, which is fine.
Yeah, no, I don't think. Yeah, because they like
Oh,
that just proves it. That just proves like that their upload schedule and stuff like that. Like that they're obviously doing something different, and they're just gonna fade off.
Oh, hell yeah.
sure.
So we touched a little bit on the writing process with Meryl Creep, where the most of it is done by you. So what exactly are we working with here? Are you doing kind of like program drums and you're writing guitar and singing over it, or what can you tell me about that?
Um, ye- yeah. So I program and kind of write everything thus far. And once, because keep in mind, we're a very new band.
Mm-hmm.
We actually just officially started, I think, about a month and a half ago. And so we're still kind of developing like a full lineup and kind of trying to solidify that. But for the most part, I've got like my little home studio here. So I'll, program some drums and track some bass and some guitar and some synth and some vocal. Recently, what I'm really excited about, our new single that we're getting ready to put out. It's in the mixing and mastering stage right now. I actually had our new drummer come to do to add her input, and she came over to kind of go like, okay, I wouldn't play that. Like, what if you did this here instead? And it blew my mind like how much better it made the song. And that's what I think is like really important, within that band dynamic, is having other people to kind of check you and go, know about this, or like, oh, this is cool if we did this, having that other, creative mind to kind of bounce things off of. But yeah, for the most part, I just kind of do everything here when I have time. For a long time, I was actually working nights. So I worked that third shift. And so on the days that I was off, I would still have to sleep during the day and stay up all night, even when I was home. Which at first I was like the first couple nights I did it, I was like, oh, I've already played through this fucking game. I've already done this. There's like nothing, 5 hours to go. And then though, I was like, this is, you idiot. This is like music time. Like, get to work,
I feel that.
So, now I'm actually, tomorrow I'm getting ready to start. I'm moving back to the daytime with everyone. So hopefully that doesn't go away too much, but it was for a few weeks to a month there. It was really nice to have that solid like 8 hours of uninterrupted, like, just, so that's been really nice.
Hell yeah, dude. Honestly, it's weird to me that like I can't function if I sleep more than like 6 or 7 hours. I'm basically just blah.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
everybody's different with that shit. Like some people need to have like 8 to 10 hours of sleep, like my wife does. If you let her sleep all day, that's when she functions the best.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it depends. I used to be really good about not needing a whole lot of sleep, and not to give like the cliche answer, but like then I had kids,
Oh God, then you start to really value sleep.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because back in the day, like you could stay up like crazy late and you were like, whatever, I'll just sleep in tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays it's like, if I stay up crazy late, that knowledge of like, God, my kids are going to be up at like 8:30. Like, that's just like, they'll naturally be up by then. So that's it. Like, I'm just going to be sleep deprived, I guess. I just need to drink more coffee. So
I feel you, dude. I'm going to be having my second child in February, which is going to be, it's going to be a handful because I know my son's crazy already. So it's like adding another one to the mix.
Do you know what you're having?
I'm having a girl.
Nice. Boy and a girl. Same
I've
here.
got he's 3.5 now. So by the time our daughter comes, he'll be like 3 3/4. but you know, it's
Yeah.
a nice little age gap, I think. How old are your
Yeah,
kids?
yeah. My son is 2.5, and my daughter is uh about 14, 15 months. So yeah,
Oh,
they're right there with,
they're really
which we really
close.
like. I like that they're, yeah,
It's almost like they're growing up together, and like,
yeah,
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 in that sense. That's
yeah.
awesome.
I really enjoy that. So, but absolutely, man. I'm just really excited about the way that everything's going. Kind of what I was talking about earlier, not to kind of completely derail things, but part of why we're doing this, or I'm doing this anyway, is just to kind of bring some awareness and I guess try to normalize a lot of different things about life that we kind of all deal with, if that makes sense. I know that, currently, in the United States, and I would imagine all over the world as well, we have more people than ever that are kind of struggling with, either like mental illness or just life in general. Life has got everybody just like crazy stressed out. And so a lot of, you're talking about the writing process, a lot of this is kind of an out, in terms of dealing with, my own struggles, but also letting other people out there, kind of know like, hey, it's okay to not have it all together. Our new single that we're putting out really deals with a lot about mental illness as well. And that's kind of really the message that I want that to send, is that, like the world expects you to have it all together, and they, it's not really normal to like be really kind of raw and like open and like, yeah, I'm not doing good right now, or I'm not, I'm having like a really hard time. And I really want to change that, because I think if more people were able to kind of be open and honest about like, about the things that they're dealing with, I think we would all kind of be a little better off for it, and probably a little bit more understanding of what other people are dealing with. So that has a lot to do with things as well. We also are getting ready to put out a cover, which is a whole other thing. I know there's kind of like a stigma against like doing covers a lot of the time, is that you're not like taking yourself seriously. But like I said, this band is for fun first and foremost, so I don't really care. I'm gonna do what I want.
I always encourage covers.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Well, we're doing, and I know it's so funny because this is so, I know you guys just, did Adam from Lorna Shore, but I'm sure all this is so kind of like out of left field for everybody, kind of into this, but we're actually doing a U2 cover, New Year's Day. I don't know. I know a lot of people probably don't like them, but
yeah.
We're getting ready to do that, and that's kind of all in regards to like the whole Black Lives Matter situation.
Right.
I think that's awesome.
We're going to be doing that here soon as well. Like I said, I mean, kind of really just let people out there, regardless of what they're into, or like who they are or where they are or whatever, kind of know that, you're not alone in what you're dealing with, no matter what it is. And just don't take life too seriously, I guess. So
it's fucking awesome. And I don't have to be necessarily into your music to support you, and that's something that I've been trying to like really stress to people, is like, support your artist friends. You don't have to fucking
sure.
You don't have to go out and buy the CDs or buy the shirts to support them. Just being supportive of your friends who are artists should, it sends a strong message that a lot of artists need to hear a lot of times, especially smaller bands.
Sure.
So when are you going to do a WAP cover?
Fuck you.
Oh man. I don't know. That's something I have to run past everybody.
You guys can do the clean version. Which isn't that clean.
Like the drowned in reverb and delay version.
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh. I don't know. We were talking about some silly covers, but I think like we were gonna do it, and then I don't. Oh yeah, I think it might have been like Andrew Baina. Like when he did his, I was like, oh, okay, well, like.
Well, that's
You know who? You know who did theirs when I was and I was like, there's nobody who's gonna do it better is Mystique or Yulami or however she says her her
Yeah.
username. Hers with the fucking symphonic elements too. Like I couldn't honestly. I was like, no, nobody's gonna do
I
it
need to
better than
check that
this.
out. I've seen
Yeah.
some of her earlier stuff, but I haven't seen that one yet.
That's somebody that like honestly we need to get feminine energy on this podcast at some point anyways, but like she's somebody I
Yeah.
want to get on the podcast at some point because I'd
That
really
would be
like to
sick.
pick her brain for sure.
Yeah.
And as it is, like synths and writing that stuff is
Different things. Like
no, dude, it keeps glitching on me, so I didn't even realize you were talking. Go ahead.
no. Yeah, same here. But yeah, no, like exactly the same thing you were saying. Like her like arrangements of I don't remember what the first one I saw her do. I think it was like Reign of Darkness or something like that. But I was just like, I would have never thought to like arrange that like breakdown into that like classical piece sounding thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's so amazing.
It's definitely different.
Do that. Yeah.
Hell yeah. She's making that deathcore sound pretty.
Right. Which I'm a sucker for. Like if I,
Yeah.
you know, it's pretty rare that I listen to like a ton of like deathcore anymore. Aside from like the bands that like I like know and love, you know, I try to do pretty well about checking out new bands, but it's pretty rare for me. But like, oh god, but when I do, it's that like symphonic, like Blackens really gets me, you know, especially since I have such like that background in like black metal anyway.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of where my head falls, I guess.
When I first started getting into heavy music, I was in a kind of more post-hardcore meets metalcore band called Heaven's Fall, but I kept trying to get us to go towards that Winds of Plague direction.
Yeah.
Like, but I couldn't do it vocally, and that was like the big problem. Like it was like, okay, but Pat, you can't do deathcore vocals. I'm like, I could just inhale it, dude. It's no big deal.
I love it. Oh, I love it. That's so good, man.
I don't care.
My first band, the reason I say it's because I suck at screaming vocals, period, which is part of why I switched over to doing the stuff that I'm doing, just because I felt like I could kind of do it more.
Mm-hmm.
My first band that I was in high school, like it was basically just like an August Burns Red cover band. But as we all had that band, but my mom found like a video recording of one of our practices, and I was like, oh my god, like delete this.
Delete it.
But it was really funny, like, because then our guitarist, or one of our guitarists at the time, ended up being our vocalist, and I'll never forget, like, our kind of lead guy who kind of wrote everything called me one day, and he was like, have you heard Josh do vocals? And I was like, no. And he was like, okay, so like he's way better than you.
Oh my god.
And I was like, oh, what? Okay, well, so what are you saying? And he was like, I think you should go to guitar and he should do vocals. And I was like, oh. And so but then we came to the practice later on, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
I can see why.
Yeah, he is way better. So
I can see that, but I'm glad you didn't just fire me.
Yeah, just the way he said it, like, hey, so like he's like way better than you. Oh, so funny.
The only thing I have to relate to that is that when I was like towards the end of Heaven's Fall, we were switching from a more older metalcore sound, like it was probably sounding more first wave metalcore, and then our new sound, once we changed vocalists, what had happened was we lost our bassist, and I decided, fuck it, I'll just play bass, I don't give a fuck. But I was like, I definitely can't do both,
right?
So we got two vocalists to replace me. One was a harsh vocalist and the other was a clean vocalist, and I specifically chose this because clean vocalist, if you were ever watching this, fuck you, you're a piece of shit. but it was still a really cool project.
Yeah, man. That's really funny.
He knows
dude.
who he is.
Yeah. It's like, I know you're out there.
You stalk me on Facebook. I know it. Oh my God.
Yeah, man. I just love hearing like everyone's old like stories about like their old bands and things like that, man.
I've never been in one, so I don't have any.
Not yet.
It's just yeah, exactly.
No. Kyle and I are gonna be putting together a weird porno grind type
I don't know
band.
what the fuck it is.
We're
It's
still
gonna be like
figuring it out.
grimy.
It's gonna be
Hell yeah,
nasty.
man.
Lots of porn samples, I'll tell you that much.
Hell yeah, man. I love it, dude. I think people should like make weird music more, you know?
Yeah, like literally, it's
That's
fun
my
to
whole
do.
thing. I
It's
don't make
easy
music
and
to sound good. I just do it for fun.
it's fun to do.
It doesn't matter like if it yeah. Well so plug one of my favorite bands. Like I've been obsessed with this and if it's and they're kind of more along that kind of indie like slowcore kind of vibe, but I was listening to their vocalist and kind of main dude talk on a podcast, and he was talking about like I grew up with all these like really good musicians, so I was always scared to do anything, and then I got into like all these like obscure like 90s bands, and I was like, oh, it's okay for it to sound shitty. And I was like, yeah, exactly. Like it doesn't matter, it's still your like art, you know, something you made, man. It's still cool, you know.
I'm with that for sure, man.
Yeah.
Like the fact of the matter is, like I started it's not really a band, it's a one-man Nintendo core band, but called 10 Dick Turtle. Not because I thought people would go out and be like, yo, the name of the band is 10 Dick Turtle, I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt.
Right.
No, dude, I just wanted to make Nintendo music sound like death metal music for fun.
Oh, there
I was
you go.
curious.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, and this will never see the light of the day. It's not good by any means, but when I was kind of trying to find like the sound for Meryl Creep, you know, I was really just kind of playing around with all these kind of different sounds and everything. And so I actually ended up writing, because you know when you're writing and recording, like look up, and then you're like, oh wow, this song's 9 minutes long. Like I did not mean to do that, you know, but you know, I wrote this like it's basically almost like a concerto kind of thing, and it like had all these different like movements, and it had like it was like this kind of rockabilly like bluegrass sounding kind of thing in the beginning, and then it went into this super trippy like ambient like I don't know, like Pink Floyd sounding kind of thing, but then it went into like this like classical like part that I obviously like programmed because I can't play like that.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, and so it's like all these different parts and everything, and I was like, oh god, like I really like each of these parts individually, and I really like this song, but this just does not work in any context whatsoever. It's just kind of cool, you know. But like I think more people should sit there and just like mess around and like do stuff like that, you know, like
Just
how
click
can I
away.
combine these, or how can I, you know, I don't know, experimentation with music is like why we all do it, I think, you know, just I don't know, see
I
what
know
sounds
so
good.
many really good players that are like really, they could sit there. Like I got this friend who can write some of the most detailed orchestral stuff I've ever heard anybody do. But when it comes to promoting his music or even writing stuff that's gonna do well, he's
Right.
terrible at it. But the guy knows how
Yeah.
to write music. He's terrible at selling himself. He's just such a talented musician. You want to see that guy do well. But
Yeah.
there's that one SoundCloud rapper that can write a minute that's a minute and a half, or write a song that's a minute and a half long and have that blow up and be on the Billboard charts.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I
It's a
think
funny world, man.
yeah. Well, and I think kind of part of the curse of being in that heavy music kind of scene is that a lot of prog like you get a lot of it becomes very kind of like mathematical, and so you can write it and it'll sound cool because like you know exactly how to make that sound, you know what I mean? Like I feel like, you know, even though I haven't done it in years, like I can pick up my guitar and like program out like a gent like pattern, you know,
Just
and
click 'em.
like and then there it goes, you know, just because, but like there's no creativity there, or not saying it's not there, but like just recreating what other people have done, you know, in that same kind of sound, you know, like that's, so it's easy. I'm trying to say this carefully because like I'm not trying to like shit on what other people are doing by any means, like that's not what I'm doing, but I think that a lot of times it does become really difficult to write something that people like actually connect to and like want to listen to when you are just kind of doing like what 1,000 other bands are doing, if that makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
How do you break out when it, for the most part, a lot of it sounds the same or similar?
Right. Yeah.
It is tough.
Yeah. And there are plenty of bands, I don't know, I think part of the problem, and it's not even really a problem, because at the end of the day, do what you want. If you want to write music that sounds like everybody else just because you like that sound, go for it, dude. That's cool, you know. But I think if you really like want to get somewhere with your music, you know, like part of it is you have to find your thing that's special about you, and you're like when you write music, because I think a lot of bands like try to write off of like what's trendy like now, you know, or whatever. And that's cool because like in a sense, because like when that's trendy, like because you are that trendy thing, you have kind of a built-in set of fans that like that sound, you know. But the problem is that if that's all you know how to do, then when that trend passes, like what are you gonna do? Like you don't have any, you know what I mean? Like you don't have any fans anymore, you know, unless you can find a way to successfully like overcome that anymore. I don't know.
Some of my favorite stuff, thinking back on it, started in the early 2010s or in the late 2000s that wasn't cool at the time to be making.
Sure.
But it's fucking cool as shit now.
Right. All these bands that were like ahead of their time. Yeah.
Great example of that is Broken Side. People shat on Broken Side like you wouldn't fucking believe.
Yeah.
But if that music dropped in 2016, I'm telling you right now, everybody would love it.
Huge. Yeah, absolutely.
And they were still doing pretty good for given the time period, but it's pretty amazing.
Once like there was even like in like the deathcore scene, you know, there were a lot of those bands that were kind of like, and they got big. Like don't get me wrong, but like, sorry, a lot of those bands like I think like the Red Chord or like Beneath the Massacre, like a lot of these bands that were doing the stuff that was like miles and miles ahead of what like all these other bands were doing at the time. And so like a lot of people I think didn't really like get it, you know, or you know, they didn't quite get as big as they like maybe could have. Whereas I think if those bands had come out like a little bit later, they would still be going today. Like they'd be fucking massive, you know.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know.
So I'm going to ask you something that I asked Adam because we got such a great reaction out of him. I wonder what you're thinking.
Okay.
How do you feel about pineapple on pizza?
Actually, I don't know. I just always liked it. Like, and I never understood, like, not to give like a super annoying answer, but like I never understood the hate for it, I guess. But I don't know. I think food, like any like music or art or movies or anything, I mean, it's all subjective. So I think a lot of like when people give like such a backlash against like if you like this, then like fuck you, you know, it's like why? I'm just like different. Like you don't. I'm not saying you have to like it, but I do. You know, like okay, you know.
The fact that Attila wrote an entire goddamn song about it just blows my mind.
It's amazing.
Like who cares? Like.
But at the end of the day, even though I like pineapple on pizza, I still think that song is a bop. Like,
sure,
I don't even care.
I don't remember what I was gonna say now.
Yeah,
I lost my train of thought.
I'm with Adam. I don't think it should be on it. I can't. I've tried it.
Hey man, that's cool too. Well,
I can't.
People are just different, man.
Let me ask you this though, because this is my go-to if I'm going to put pineapple on pizza. I'm going to put pineapple, jalapeno, and depending on the place, grilled chicken.
Dude, that sounds good. That sounds good.
That's how I like it.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for the old classic, just like ham and pineapple. Just because like that was what we had so much when I was growing up. But
Same.
yeah, no, that sounds amazing.
But what bothers me though is sausage on pizza. That just rubs me the wrong way.
I like it. I don't know.
Sausage is good for breakfast with pancakes, but
Sure.
I really
See,
won't
I see
put that on
different.
pizza.
I don't like it for breakfast. I'd rather have it on a pizza.
Yeah. Well, it's just, you know, I don't know. Like some people think that like cilantro tastes like soap.
I am one of those people.
I couldn't live without it. It's so good, you know. But like,
So what does it actually taste like?
it's like it's hard to like explain. It just gives it that kind of like spice. It's not really spicy. I don't know. It's really hard to explain to somebody who's never had it before.
What I don't understand is why I have to specifically ask for rice that doesn't have cilantro on it when I go to Chipotle.
Oh, just because they like make it like that, yeah.
I don't understand the Italian seasoning that's mixed into Mexican cuisine. It's an interesting idea, but because it tastes like soap to me, it's like, why?
Get this shit out of my rice.
Get it out of my rice.
Yeah. No, I get that. No, I used to work at Chipotle, and yeah, like that's and like it's cool. Like we'll do it, you know. But like when people would come in and they were like, "Can I just have like some plain rice?" It's like, oh my god, these people.
I know you don't work there anymore, and I'm fine with that. I'm that guy who will ask for a menu and be like, "Oh, there's cilantro on everything that you make, and it's pre-made into everything you make." I'm gonna go somewhere else. I'm sorry, nothing against you. I just can't do it.
I was always like, okay,
have fun.
you know,
it's better to do that than to sit down and be like, "Hey, this shit sucks. I want my money back."
Yeah, like come back later. Like this has cilantro in it, and it's like, yeah, like everything here does.
Yeah,
but yeah,
fucking
that's
food
like
service jobs, dude.
Yeah, that's like my brother. My brother's like the most hipster person I've ever met in my entire life.
How hipster is he?
So he goes to Starbucks, and he like specifically asks for like the pour over, like coffee. Like you know how like if they're like out of whatever coffee you want, they'll be like, oh, we can do a pour over for you. It'll just take a minute, you know. And you 9 times out of 10, you're like, okay, like. It's fine. I'll have some.
He specifically, no matter what.
He goes in and he's like, "Can I get a pour over of this?" And they're kind of like, "Well, we have some fresh that we just made." And he's like, "It tastes better in a pour over." And I'm like, "You're an asshole. Like you're like the worst person.
You're the worst kind of human being."
So I used to work at Starbucks. Now here's
Same.
how my perspective on that, being that I used to work there. All right.
Sure.
If you ask me at night when there's nothing going on, I'll be glad to make you a pour over because you probably don't want that shit that's been sitting in the pot for a couple hours, even though we're supposed to change it out every like 15 minutes.
But let's be real.
Doesn't care.
Yeah, let's be real.
Doesn't care and keeps resetting the timer.
It's the same thing with food service. It's the same thing with like just regular food. You're not going to do it every 15 minutes or so.
Right.
It's a lot of product to waste. If I'm not going to lie.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I don't care. But if you ask me while I'm in the middle of a rush,
like.
There is an art to making a pour over. I understand that, but I'm not going to put art into your coffee when I'm in the middle of making 5 other drinks. So this is what you're going to get.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
But I'm also the guy that will sit there and I will take the time to make a pretty design on top of your latte if I have time to do it.
Right.
Otherwise, otherwise, no.
I used to just feel like it was a flex, like on my end. Like I would just get stoked. Because even if, like, I know, like, they're not even going to look at it, I'm putting the lid on it, and they're not even going to see the awesome thing that I just made, I would just do it just to be like, oh, yeah, it's a cool-looking flower. That's a cool-looking heart, or, like, whatever, you know?
I would literally take my phone out and take a picture of it, even though every one of my coworkers is like, he's fucking doing the thing again. I'm like, leave me alone. You're still within drive-through time, so you can eat my dick.
Oh, good times, man. Good times.
Dude, I love
sometimes
I
miss food service in general sometimes.
I don't miss food service. I miss coffee shops. Those were fun.
I mean, I used to be a cook, so I was in the back.
Sure.
As much as I hated listening to people, I mean, I still love to do. I still love to cook.
Cook at your house. Like.
I don't fucking. I barely do that, but.
Right.
So
Yeah,
when the brand gets big enough, Kyle, we're gonna start a new music bar. That's gonna be a bar/venue.
Fuck
You'll
yeah.
be making fried food and pizzas in the back, and we'll get somebody to run the bar.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
it's a great idea.
That would make money. But
Yeah, it would.
if I'm gonna run a venue, I want to run it the right way and make sure at the very least the bathrooms are clean.
Please.
I don't know, man. That's kind of like the whole thing, though. You know.
I
Like,
want to get AIDS sitting on the toilet. Like,
yeah, well, it's like not that I prefer it, but like if I like when I was in like my old band and we would like go to play like a new place or whatever, if we would walk in and like the bathroom was kind of pristine, I was like, okay, kids don't come here. Like this is
Yeah.
we're gonna have a bad show tonight, you know. Like a really, really, really popular venue that like a lot of people come out to, the bathroom's gonna fucking look like shit, you know.
yeah.
You
know, I would. You know what? I agree with that. You know what? You're probably right too.
I'll make sure there is a checklist on the back of the bathroom door, kind of like Target does, where you have to go in and clean it once an hour. But I'd also be that guy that would purposely leave 1 or 2 Sharpies in there. Let them go ham. The walls are white. Go nuts. I don't give a shit.
Just no Nazi and racist profanity. That's all we care about.
Let them do it. Shit. I'm not going to support it. I'm probably going to cover it at some point.
Yeah.
But just let them go ape shit. You never know what they might write. They might write something that becomes like a staple in your venue.
Right. Yeah. I used to love the stickers, like just the fucking band stickers, like fucking everywhere. So especially when you're like a smaller band and like you show up to a new place and you're like pissing there and you're like, oh, this band played here. That's cool, man. You know.
This band's come through.
Or like, oh, they're there. I always thought that was fun. I just miss getting to say "good set, bro," like to people.
Me too.
Like that's, you know, like.
Yeah. I just miss seeing different people. That's all I miss.
Right.
All the good homies.
I went to when I was in one of my other older bands back in the day. I went to a show that like we weren't playing just because I'm not an asshole.
Thank you.
But no, like we went to the show and it was like all our friends' bands that were playing and we couldn't because our guitarist had to play or whatever, or had to work. But I was at this show and I was like walking past this guy and this guy looked at me and he was like, "Good set, man," and I was like, I didn't play it. Like, what are you talking about? So I was just like, thanks. Like, and just like carried on.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro. You guys were sick too, man. Like, neither of you watched the other person's band.
Yeah, I've been at the bar the whole time.
Yeah.
That's usually me, not gonna lie. I don't mosh anymore. I am definitely in mosh retirement.
Like, see, you say that, Pat, and then you hear this dirty breakdown, and then you're like, all right, time to come out of retirement.
It's literally the SpongeBob meme. It's like, I'm gonna head out.
Yeah.
That is me. Like, it's like, okay, the right breakdown,
that's like both
I'll
of us.
Down.
Yeah, that's both of us.
Throw down. I'm like grabbing you by the back of your top knot, and I'm dragging you in. Like, we're gonna go. We're going.
When my fiance was pregnant with our son, we went down and saw Carnifex, and she was like, and I kept telling her the whole time, I was like, we don't have to go. I know you're pregnant. Like, if you don't want to go, it's fine. And she was like, no, it's okay. And she said that thing, like that guilty thing, like, I know you want to go. And I was like, damn right. Like, you know,
one of them fucker things.
Right. But anyways, so she was like standing in the back the whole time, you know, it was this tiny little fucking place and everything. And I kept, you know, the whole time my kids are getting rowdy and doing everything, and she's sitting there like fucking like pregnant as shit. And I was like, we can like go if you want. Like I've seen this band like a bunch of times. Like I don't really care. And she's like, oh no, it's fine. But I look over and she's like sneakily like Googling like, is it safe to go to a death show when you're pregnant? I was fucking dying, dude.
If Google didn't say no, I'm just gonna come right out and say no. Probably not safe.
Probably not. But we were in the back by the bar, you know. So like whatever.
You did what you had to stay in out of the vicinity of the pit.
Right. But then they played "Lie to My Face," and I was like, all right, well, you stay here, and I'm gonna go up there for a minute. Like,
I'll be back.
fucking had to.
I am throwing down for Lie to My Face. You cannot.
Right. Of course.
You have to.
Yeah. Like, you lose your like deathcore dude card. Like, if
You just
if
lose
don't.
all respect.
Yeah.
All respect.
Oh god, good times, man.
Good.
Everybody's got to
So-
throw down at least once at a concert. At least once.
Right. All right.
I don't know which mosh call out I like better. Is it Lie to My Face or Hell Chose Me?
Oh, I don't
If
know.
we're going between those two by Carnifex, I don't know which one I would mosh harder to.
Hell Chose Me is longer. It's got more of a build up to it. You know.
It's later in their career, so that makes a little more
Right.
sense. But I think
But,
there's just something about the lyrics to Lie to My Face that I always kind of get a little bit like goosebumps, and I have to.
Yeah. Oh, that was some good times, man. I feel like I say that about like everything, like involving shows and like metal and everything. But
It'll-
like,
It will
It
all
was,
come
dude.
back at some point. It
Yeah.
will.
for sure, I miss like the mixed genre shows.
Yeah.
I don't know if they did that a bunch, like where you guys are, but like in Tupelo, because I started playing shows in Tupelo, Mississippi. You know, and it was honestly great. Because everyone sucked and like no one knew it, like, you know, but like we were all just having a good time.
I love that. We all suck. Let's just do a concert. Fuck it.
Well, we, like, and you know, I say
Everybody's
that,
first
like,
show.
a lot of the bands were like really good, but like even the bands, like it was cool because even the bands that like did kind of suck, like they were like the best guys, and so everyone just kind of like accepted that this band kind of sucks, but we're still gonna support the hell out of them, you know.
I'm still gonna throw down.
I'm not gonna shout anybody out, but like, you know.
All right, guys. We are going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. And we're back. Thank you for bearing with us and listening to our spam. We probably just sold you on some Blue Chew because you may or may not have a problem with an erection. If you do or don't, that's totally up to you.
You do you, boo boo.
That's
We're
what our
here for you.
OnlyFans is for, so that you can check out our OnlyFans. If you really do need a Blue Chew, just sign up for our OnlyFans. We got you.
I
Now,
still have to make a post about that shit. Just to piss off my girlfriend.
oh man. Yeah, as we bring this interview to a close, what are some things that we want to plug? What can we expect from you in terms of new music, or what is the plan going forward for Meryl Creep?
So we have new music coming out tomorrow, or just a single, and then another new one coming out soonish after that. Can't say exactly when, but then we're steadily working on just working and writing new music as much as we can. So you can probably expect to see at least an EP by the beginning of 2021. Get rid of this whole shitty year in like the best way. So
Off to a good start.
but yeah, absolutely, we're just kind of plugging along. So
Hell yeah. Sick.
So.
Well, thanks again, Matt, for taking the time to have this conversation, reaching out to me initially, because I can't stress it enough. I love having people on the show that reach out to me.
Yeah.
That means a lot more to me. It means that what I'm doing actually has some value, that people want to be on my platform.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you guys so much.
Heart, man.
Thank you guys so much for having me, man. I had a blast. So
Absolutely. By the time this interview actually airs, your single will probably already be out, and there will be a link in the description to go check that shit out, as we are probably going to do after we're done here. I actually want to hear some of your music now. So
okay, check it out.
Fuck yeah. Anybody you want to thank or shout out before we let you go?
Let me shout out my drummer, Courtney. She originally was talking about wanting to be here with me today, but I know you had mentioned that it was usually better to just have one person, so I kind of turned her down on that. But shout out to Brian Papich, however, I'm not sure exactly how you say his name, but he is mixing and mastering our new single that will be out after this one tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, just shout out to everybody who's like listened to us thus far. I know it's we're small, but we're really grateful to everyone who is taking the time to check out what we have, and we're just excited about the future. So, and we are on all the major streaming platforms. So, even Napster. I think DistroKid put us on Napster as well. So Lars Ulrich can get mad at us if he wants, but that's okay.
You beat me to the Lars Ulrich joke. That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
They didn't completely deplatform Napster because of Lars. That's great.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh man. But it has been really great chatting with you. I really appreciate you taking the time again, and thanks again.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You guys take care.
You too, man.
You too.
Bye.